Yo, what is going on, part-timers? Zach here. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Arknights. However, I wanted to talk about Arknights with a little bit of a twist here. We're going to be talking about Arknights Infield. So if you guys have not heard anything about this, it has been sweeping Reddit and Twitter recently by storm because this is seemingly going to be a brand new game under the Arknights belt. Now, the reason that the speculation has been happening is because recently on Twitter and on TapTap, they have swept in and took the domain names for JP, KR, CN, as well as global. So usually when that happens, devs are either preparing for some sort of announcement, whether it be a couple months from now or a year from now. Sometimes time varies, obviously, when it comes to announcements, but that is the main kind of caveat of why people think that this could be a potential game or what kind of type of thing it could be, is because they already went in and they took domain names. Now, the main reason for this video is talking about speculation. So we're going to be entering Speculation City. Okay, hold on. Speculation City. Okay, that bit sounded a little bit better in my head, but I have to use a voice changer. I never use it for anything. So the idea, though, is that it's going to be an RPG. At least a lot of people have been pushing that way. And the reason behind that is, first off, they have quoted a dev during a live stream of Hyperglyph, just talking about that would be one of the paths that they would like to go down if they were to go into any other genre besides tower defense, mainly to build out some character lore, some environments, be a little bit more immersive. Obviously, currently, the Arknights right now does a really good job of telling stories, but it is kind of a text wall for a lot of different people who don't really like to read text. That could be kind of a turnoff, whereas an RPG or maybe even an open world would give you a little bit more immersion, maybe even be voice acted if they're able to do it, especially in tangent with the anime coming out, you know, in the near future. I think that this could be potentially a real good reason why they might go into an RPG, even if it's just like a side story on some of the new characters that are going to be coming out in the anime and they're just kind of trying to cross promote or something like that. I really don't think that they would spend that much money making a new game just to cross promote something, but it could be kind of a way to transition from just tower defense into something like RPG, because they have the anime to also carry the back of the story and some of the lore and stuff like that. That is one of the reasons I think that the merit kind of holds up on this one, is mainly because of the anime and some of the different ways that they're able to tell the stories, because Arknights has a phenomenal story, soundtrack, characters, and just having something else like an RPG or an open world, it definitely kind of make that a little bit more improved and stuff if they do it correctly, just from the way that they've been able to do it from tower defense alone and just giving such an awesome story. Just imagine what they could do with open world or an RPG. Now, the other side is a lot of people have been saying that maybe it's a new engine update. So basically what I'm talking about there is Arknights currently would be transitioned onto a brand new engine, which would usually come with like improved graphics and improved mechanics, some different changes and stuff like that to make everything a little bit more smoother, run smoother, FPS wise, maybe run a little bit better, or even like potentially go on a PC version of it. I don't really know what they would do with a new engine. However, the reason I don't necessarily feel like this one's really at the top of their list is mainly because I feel like Arknights really holds up, even from the fact that it's a couple years old. I think it runs really well. Even on BlueStacks, it runs like at 60 FPS above. And then there's a lot of different mechanics, obviously, and some things that you really need to learn in order to even become like a veteran player. So I think that they have, you know, what it takes essentially to stay on the same engine for a little bit of time before they need to upgrade and change any of this stuff, because a lot of people are happy with where it's at. I could definitely be wrong about that, but from what I've been able to see, just playing it alone, it runs really, really smooth and there's not a lot of hiccups on it. So I don't necessarily think that that would be the top of their list, because it would cost a lot of money. They'd have to worry about like data transfers, making sure everything transfers correctly, making sure everybody has the same characters, all the different units that they invested in. Now, it wouldn't be like, you know, impossible or anything like that, but it would cost them a little bit of money. So I just don't necessarily think they would go down that route, which is why I don't think that one holds as much merit. The last thing I've really seen people talking about is, if you guys have seen Fallout Shelter, it's basically just a shelter simulator. You just build out your bases, a little bit like the feature that they currently have in Arknights, where you just go in there and you get resources and you get all kinds of different things. The other side of that would just be, you know, sending your operators out to the world in the post-apocalyptic world and just being able to take resources and stuff like that and maybe fight different creatures and stuff. And just really the main thing, though, is to build out the base. Now, the reason that I don't necessarily think this is going to be true, and a lot of you guys are probably already thinking this because a lot of people mention it in Reddit, is the fact that currently Arknights, the base system right now, is in beta. So it'd be really funny for them to just come out with a brand new game that's centered around base building, but have the current Arknights have a base building feature that is still in beta. So this is why I don't think that one's going to be really a merit, and it's not going to hold a lot of ground on that one. Is just because, like, hey, if they wanted to build the base stuff, they would probably just really focus on what they currently have in Arknights and just expand upon that. It doesn't really make too much sense to make a brand new game. However, like I said at the beginning of all this is all speculation, just based on like interviews and stuff that they've talked about. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to go one way or another. This could just be like a graphic novel for all we know. It just definitely doesn't even need to be a game. But I want to give like kind of my take on it and see what you guys would think. Would you guys want it to be like a one-time purchase RPG? Or would you like a more traditional gacha game with a little bit RPG elements, maybe a little bit of open world if done correctly? I know a lot of people don't like open worlds if they have empty, you know, worlds and don't have a lot of environments. I honestly don't think Arknights would struggle with that because they have so much to put in there. But definitely let me know your comments. But I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. Have a good rest of your night, guys. Peace.